Kimi 3 was just launched and everybody on the internet is saying it is the next Claude killer. So I gave both of them a live account and real money to trade. I gave them 2 hours of scalping and then a strategy build off. Only one winner. One of them performed this. So let's go over to my computer and see what really happened. Now, I've been backtesting strategies here on YouTube for over 5 years, but I've got to say one of the AIs absolutely destroyed its opponents by taking very little moves. You can see here Kimi trading live with its own account in a live trading competition against Fable 5. In this video, we're going to be doing 3 things. First of all, we're going to be giving a trading account to Claude and to Kimi and asking them to make their first trade. This will prove that they actually can trade. Second, we're going to do a competition style for 2 hours, competing against each other to see who can actually trade the best. And finally, we're going to be doing a code off. We're going to be giving a TradingView account to Kimi and Claude, asking them both to build a trading strategy, the best possible trading strategy, using a rules-based system. For that competition, they will also have 2 hours to actually find results. Okay, but before we do all of that, let's have a quick high-end overview of Kimi and see what the benchmarks actually say. Okay guys, this will be a high-end overview because there are already plenty of videos out there, but Kimi has released its official Kimi K3, the Open Frontier Intelligence, with 2.8 trillion parameters and a context window of 1 million. What does that mean for most of us? Well, it means that we probably won't be able to actually run it on our computers. We do have a huge context window. Kimi is an open weight and open source model from China and is absolutely killing those benchmarks on par with Fable 5 and GPT 5.6 Sol. As you can see, it even beat the top players on multiple benchmarks, including the program benchmark, where it came above both Fable and GPT 5.6. So very, very impressive, especially for an open source and open weight model. Now, if I'm right, I believe that Kimi actually is the model behind the cursor model. So this should make a huge amount of difference to a lot of developers. Now, one thing that is actually crucial to anybody using AI is the price of tokens. As you can see, Kimi K3 comes in the same price as Claude Sonnet 5, which is absolutely insane because Sonnet 5 is the much less capable version from Claude. Fable is more than 3 times the price of Kimi K3, and Sol, which was considered cheap in comparison to Claude Fable, is coming in at double the price. So absolutely insane stuff. So that was the benchmarks. Like I said, a very high-end overview. Let's get over to installing this baby and seeing whether it can actually trade. Now, to use Kimi code, we're going to need to sign up for an account. There is a free account here that you can actually use. Kimi code is not included in the free subscription, so you will need to sign up for at least a $19 per month. I've signed up for the $99 version to see what we can get out of these 15x credits. One thing that I love about this is also that we have the swarm, which allows us to create up to 8 sub-agents for every single task. To get Kimi code, we just need to go to kimi.com/code and we need to install it on our computers. It's pretty simple. We just literally go over, we copy this line of code, open up our terminal, paste in that line of code, hit enter, and it will install. It will then ask you to authenticate, which is pretty simple. Then to launch it, you have to type in Kimi, and it will ask you to log in. You have to type in log in, and it will ask you to log in directly from your subscription. That will take a couple of steps. It's very, very simple. That is how you install Kimi code. This is the equivalent of using Claude code directly in the terminal. So pretty cool. They have their own code version, and I've been testing it for a while since its release, and I think that Kimi code is very, very good. Okay, now that you have Kimi K3 up and running, I've also set up a side-by-side competition between Claude and Kimi K3. We're going to give both of them the tools that they need to be able to trade, notably tradingkit.com. We're going to click here. TradingKit.com is a free MCP server that gives all of the tools that an AI agent needs to be able to backtest, create strategies, and even make its own trades. So it makes things very simple for the AI agent, but behind it is an absolute powerhouse. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an account here, first of all, on TradingKit.com. We're going to press My Account. We're going to ignore that it says Claude here. We're going to copy the line of code just here. We're going to paste it into Kimi's code, just like this here, and we're going to go all the way to the beginning. We're going to delete out Claude, and we're going to type in Kimi just like this. We're going to hit enter. I've already got it installed myself, but we're going to hit enter. It's then going to ask you also to authorize. Just go here and copy this code here and copy and paste it into the text box on Kimi, hit enter, and that will authorize you so that you can backtest and trade on your account. Do exactly the same for Claude if you're looking to use Claude. I've got them both set up already. You will now need a trading account. I'm going to be using Bybit just in this example because it's the one that I use day to day. I have 2 sub accounts ready and loaded with some equity so that we can actually go away and trade. Right, okay, first things first, you will need to also set up your API keys and secrets so that they can trade and add them into the env file. That is how you get these things to trade. Okay, let's get over to the terminal. We're going to check the connection. First thing we're going to do is, hey there buddy, could you check my balance on my Bybit account? Let's copy and paste that over here, and this is going to be our first test. Boom and boom, which is going to be the faster to go and get my balance. And boom, there you have it. Kimi was way faster than actual Claude. One thing I've noticed about Kimi is that it doesn't overthink. It just gets straight to the business. Claude is still thinking. And we're finally there. As you can see, both accounts have around $2,500 on them to trade with. These are just sub accounts that I've set up for this challenge. Obviously, guys, I'm not going to give them access to my main account, but $2,500 on each account, which is great. As I said, Kimi was a lot faster than Claude. Okay, let's get on to the next test. Can it actually take a trade? Hey there buddy, I'd like you to take a trade, a longer trade on BTC USDT. On my Bybit account, I'd like you to use $50 and 10x leverage, set the take profit to 2%, the stop loss to 1%, and I'd like you to take a long trade. Don't overthink this is just for a test. Okay, so that is our first prompt. We're going to put that into both. Let's add one more prompt. As soon as you're finished, please report back to me. Boom. So we're going to send that to both Claude and Kimi. Boom. Claude's going. Kimi too. Let's see which is the fastest trader. And boom, Kimi has actually won again. Claude seems to be still planning things out. Kimi has taken its first trade. Claude seems to be planning things still out. As you can see, we still don't have a trade for Claude, but Kimi has already taken its first trade. So Kimi K3 thinking high is a lot faster than Claude actually is. Let's wait for Claude's trade. And boom, Claude has actually taken its trade. It took an extra 3 minutes than Kimi did, which is absolutely ludicrous as far as I'm concerned, especially as I'm using it for trading. But it did the job, which was what we expected. As you can see, we used $44, which obviously is just a rounding thing. We have a 10x leverage. The stop loss and take profit has been set for Claude. Let's have a look at Kimi. Kimi used $44 as well. 10x leverage was set, and stop loss and take profit was set as well. So they both did a brilliant job at actually taking their first trades. Right, I'm going to ask them to close those trades. Let's move on to the next part. Hey there, buddy. Could you please close that trade? One thing that you'll note is that actually Claude is still thinking about even coming back with a report, so it's taking forever. Hey there, buddy. Could you please close that trade? Oh well, so the good news is that they both can actually trade, they can find our balance, they can actually take a full risk managed trade with stop loss, take profit, changing leverage and position size. So they both work very well. Kimi K3 definitely was the winner in this first test, being much faster as Fable 5. Speed was the only thing that could affect this challenge, so Kimi definitely took the point on this end. Okay, let's move on to task 2. We've already given our trading account to both of their bots. Now I'm just going to give them a prompt and ask them to trade for 2 hours. The rules are simple. They can use their own logic, update and build any scripts that they want. They have 2 hours to be able to trade, and they have to trade a scalping strategy. They will be able to see each other's balance, as this is a competition between Claude and Kimi, and the winner will be the one that has the most P&L at the end. Okay, for this challenge, I have built a prompt, which you'll be able to get if you want as well. It's a very, very simple prompt. You are a crypto trader. You are a top 0.1% crypto trader competing in a live trading competition on Bybit. You have 2 hours. Your ranking will be decided by a realized P&L and so on and so forth. It tells it all of the rules that it's allowed to trade, that it must open 3 positions within the first 5 minutes, and it is a scalping strategy. So I'm going to copy all of that, and we're going to go over to our competitors. We're going to paste that in on Kimi, paste it in on Claude, and let the best AI win. Boom, boom, off we go. We're going to leave this one for 2 hours to go and compete. As soon as they've given us the first 3 positions, I will fast forward to that. We'll have a look at their first 3 positions. And then we'll move on to task 3, and we'll come back and see what the results are for this 2-hour competition. Okay, we just had our first trade from Kimi. Claude is still lagging behind. Okay, we have our first open trade from Kimi. It's on Wild USDT, currently in a bit of a loss. It used 150 USD dollars. Not sure where that idea coming from, but that's absolutely fine. We're using 10x leverage, and if we look at Claude, is still thinking. We have no trades currently open by Claude. Kimi has opened its second trade on ENA USDT. $140 USDT in margin, 10x leverage. Both of these are both short trades. In the meantime, Claude is still thinking about trading. And finally, Kimi has taken its third and final trade for the start of this competition. Hype USDT, another short, 10x leverage, using $140 of margin. We are using 10x leverage, and as I said, we're using a short. If I go over, let's have a look at Claude. Claude is still thinking about trading. We have 3 potential symbols that it's actually looking at: esports, SOL, and SOXL USDT. Hopefully we'll be able to get some trades very, very soon. Looks like Claude is thinking about taking a short and 2 longs. Okay, we're 5 minutes into the competition. I just thought I'd give a quick update. Kimi has its 3 positions open still, and it even had time to do its first 5-minute manage loop, continuing to hold those positions open. Claude is still thinking about taking a trade, which is pretty embarrassing, really. It managed to miss a couple of entries because it took so long to think about it. I even tried to change model to the much faster model without any success so far. So currently, Kimi is absolutely crushing it, even though the trades are in loss at the moment. At least it has managed to take trades, as Claude seems to be just overthinking of it and never ever actually trading. Now, in one of my previous videos, it did take me a long time to get Claude Fable to actually trade, so maybe this is the same problem. Okay guys, so Claude has literally refused to trade currently at the moment. He can't see any opportunities, so it's decided to sit on the sideline. That in itself is a strategy, so let's see what happens there. Kimi has its 3 open trades. Currently, all of them are in winning positions. Let's see what happens in the next 2 hours. Move on to the task 3. We're going to be doing a coding competition, a code off if you will. We're going to set Kimi against Claude code to see which one actually can build the best TradingView strategy. Now, earlier we installed TradingKit.com, which is an MCP server that also gives access to tools like a TradingView account so that it can backtest strategies. The community has currently backtested over 234,000 strategies together, as you can see here. So now I'm going to give Kimi K3 and Claude Fable 5 the mission to create the best trading strategy. I've created a prompt as always. The rules are very simple. We want the best P&L, but we also don't want something that has a ridiculous max drawdown. Anything that has a low max drawdown for the amount of profit and a good Sharpe ratio and profit factor will get extra points. Here is the prompt. You are a top 1% PineScript developer, a quantitative researcher. You have access to the David Tech boilerplate, which allows for it to have a bit of a head start. You have the TradingView MCP server. Build your own self-learning skill so that you can learn from what you are building. In the prompt, it asks it to build its own self-learning skill so that it can learn from its mistakes and build the best strategy. It has 2 hours to build the strategy. Let's copy and paste this over to Kimi and over to Claude. And 3, 2, 1, boom, boom. This will now go away and start backtesting strategies using the TradingView MCP server. It will also build a back end, which will look a little bit like this, where you can see all of the results and look a little bit deeper into those equity curves, all on your local host, so you can actually see everything as it works. Okay, I'm going to leave that running in the background. Both tasks, the trader and also our code off, I'm going to leave it for 2 hours. I will be back with the results so you can see whether or not Kimi is actually worth all of this buzz. Okay, it's been a little bit over 2 hours. Both traders and coders have finished their jobs. I'm going to start off with the coding of backtesting results. Let's have a look at the backtesting results and what kind of strategies they came up with. So I'm going to be doing this directly on TradingView. We have the 2 best strategies that both Fable 5 and K3 came up with. I'm going to start with Claude. We're going to go over to the backtesting results. Drum roll, please. And boom, as you can see, we're on the entire history. BTC, USDT on the 1 hour time frame. These are the results from Claude. 706%, a max drawdown of 37%, and we had 207 closed trades. The equity curve is absolutely brilliant. Claude decided to go away and build a double EMA, a Vortex, and RSI strategy. All of these indicators I've used in the past. We are taking both shorts and longs for this strategy, and the backtest looks pretty good. The profit factor is 1.5 and the Sharpe ratio is 0.32, which isn't great, but everything else looks pretty good. Now if I go over to Kimi K3 on BTC USDT on the 1 hour time frame as well, they both chose the same coin pair and the same time. We can see that Kimi absolutely smashed the net profit. The max drawdown was very similar to Claude's max drawdown. We have 196 closed trades, very similar true. We had a profit factor of 1.929, which is also very, very similar. The equity curve looks amazing as well. They both did an absolutely brilliant job of that equity curve. Now, if I was to choose one of the 2, I personally would go with the Kimi. There was more profit, slightly less max drawdown. We had a profit factor which was slightly higher. So in general, I would say that the Kimi strategy actually won the point. It was a close call, but for me, Kimi just had that extra amount of profit and a little bit less max drawdown. So the second point will go to Kimi as well. Okay, the trading competition as well, the results are in. If I go over to my screen, you can see that the positions are all closed by Kimi, and Kimi took a decent number of trades, a couple of losses and 1 winning trade, giving it a bit of a loss after all. But Claude, on the other hand, was a little bit conniving. Claude literally sat on the sidelines and took 0 trades. No matter how hard I pushed it, asked it to trade, asked it to be aggressive, it just decided that it would not trade. Now if I go over to our prompts and look into the actual logic behind this, you can see that Claude was actually scanning Kimi's trades. Noticing that Kimi was in a loss of $8.7, Claude decided that it would be better not to trade at all. If the objective was to win the trading competition, its best strategy would be to sit out of the market. Now, is this considered as cheating or is it considered as clever? I don't really know. Claude certainly did win the match because Kimi admits that all of his trades were losers except for one, giving it a win rate of 25% and a final realized P&L of -$6. He also noticed that he made a mistake because at the peak it was at +$11 in mid-session and he should have closed the trade, realizing that it should have used a trailing stop loss instead of waiting for it to hit the TP. Now, at first, I was extremely annoyed by Claude. I was pushing it hard to try and make it trade, but as a real trader, often it is better to sit out of the market, so maybe it was the right strategy. Personally, I'm going to put this one as a draw because Kimi did actually make trades and Claude was just a little bit more conniving. So guys, over here you can see the scoreboard. We have Kimi winning 2 matches and the final draw. Personally, I think that Kimi is absolutely amazing and I will be using it in the future. It's a lot cheaper than Claude and it looks like it has the same capabilities. Although one thing, I did notice that Kimi's rules were a lot more flexible than Claude, so I would be careful having it on your computer so it doesn't delete all your files, as Claude generally is quite good and has lots of risk settings, etc. So lots of risk settings protecting your computer and the things that it does. One final question would be, would I actually trade these trading strategies, as they do look pretty good? My answer to that is no, not in the slightest. I've been an algo trader and backtesting strategies for over 5 years here on YouTube, and I've got to say those equity curves do look good. But until you put your strategies into a forward testing period where you finish backtesting like this in green and put them into a live trading simulation, you never know what happens. Forward testing is very, very important, as you may be just cherry picking trades from the past. I've backtested over 2,000 strategies and know that 95% of them don't work. Currently, I'm trading around 7 strategies out of those 2,000. That shows you the number of strategies that have a real edge is very, very small. Guys, I hope that was helpful. I'm looking forward to testing Kimi a lot more in detail. Take care, keep safe, trade like a boss, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Goodbye.
Come on, David, and once again he's gone to code a new strategy. He'll be back in just 5 minutes. RSI and MACD. If he doesn't run into any bugs, there will